The rooftop of the Porter Hotel in Portland was alive that evening, string lights, twinkling like captured, stars against the dark sky, the low hum of laughter and clinking, glasses mixing with the soft jazz from the speakers. The Willamette River stretched below us, its surface shattered into 1,000 gold fragments by the city lights. It was my engagement party, mine and Caleb's. After years of rebuilding from ruins, this night felt like proof I'd finally won. Caleb had just stepped away to pose for photos with a few friends near the railing, his laugh carrying back to me, warm, genuine, no hidden edges. His laptop sat open on a side table by the playlist setup. We'd been adding songs together all evening, turning the night into our soundtrack. I leaned over to cue our first dance, track the slow one we'd discovered on a rainy drive up the coast. My fingers brushed the trackpad. A notification flashed in the corner. The preview line sliced through the joy like a knife. Final transfer complete. $75,000 as agreed. Discretion assured, this secures Lila's future. My breath stopped. The music kept playing, some upbeat melody we'd chosen, but everything else narrowed to that single email. The date on the attached receipt, 1 week before my original wedding day years ago. The bribe. The payoff to Wyatt so he would leave me at the altar, clearing the path for Lila, the daughter Dad had hidden all my life. Heart slamming against my ribs, I clicked once, quick, silent. The full body loaded, cold, businesslike words confirming what I'd suspected but never fully proven again. Funds routed quietly. Lila protected, me discarded. The rooftop spun for a second. Guests toasted nearby. To love. Oblivious. The river kept glittering. My ring, Caleb's ring, felt heavy, a reminder of what real love looked like. No secrets, no price tags. I closed the window, added the song, let it play. Then I excused myself, voice steady, smile polite, just need a quick break, and walked to the restroom entrance. Heels clicking evenly, no stumble. Locked in a stall, I leaned against the cool tile wall. 30 seconds. That's all I gave myself. Breath came shallow. Old hurt crashed in. Why now, on this night? Tears pricked hot, but I blinked them back. I wasn't that girl anymore. I'd rebuilt everything, career, friends, heart. Dua. I splashed water on my wrists at the sink. Fixed my makeup, emerald gown still flawless, eyes fierce in the mirror. Deep breath, another. The reflection was calm, composed. This discovery didn't break me. It fueled me. Dad's secrets hadn't died. They were still alive, still trying to protect the wrong daughter. I stepped out, found Caleb, slipped my hand into his, smiled like the world hadn't shifted. But inside, a quiet fire burned. Lila's engagement celebration in Whitefish was weeks away. The invitation had arrived days earlier. I'd almost declined. Now, I knew I had to go, not for revenge, for final peace. The party swirled on, fireworks bursting over the river later, Caleb pulling me close for a dance. I toasted with him, to new beginnings, to honesty. But my mind was already in Whitefish. The fuse was lit. 2 years earlier, the first email had arrived on what should have been my wedding morning. Not from Dad, from an anonymous account forwarding proof. Bank transfer, $75,000. To Wyatt. Timestamp. Days before he vanished, leaving me in white lace. Guests whispering, heart in pieces. I remember standing in the hotel suite, veil pinned, Mom fussing with flowers. My phone buzzed. I opened it alone. The attachments. DNA test confirming Lila was Dad's biological daughter. Emails between him and Wyatt. This ensures her happiness. Do what's right. Wyatt's reply. Payment received. I'm out. The room spun. I sank to the floor, dress pooling around me like spilled milk. Mom knocked. Harper, honey, it's time. I couldn't speak. The ceremony never happened. Wyatt was gone. Dad's face when I confronted him later, pale, guilty, but defensive. We thought we were protecting the family. Protecting? The word burned. Lila, my half-sister hidden since birth, got the perfect life. Spa business funded. Wyatt redirected to her. Me? Left to pick up shards. I left that day, no scene. Just packed a bag, drove to Portland. Cut contact. Mom's calls went unanswered. Dad's voicemails deleted after one listen. Harper, please understand, I didn't. Nights were the worst. Alone in a tiny apartment, rain against the window. I'd replay every moment Dad favored Lila subtly. Extra hugs, better gifts, secrets I sensed but never named. Wondered why I was never enough. The pain wasn't anger then. It was hollow ache, but Portland became my ground zero. I threw myself into real estate, networked at summits, pitched deals with the forecasts. Dad once dismissed as too cautious. Promotions came fast. Senior analyst, director, salary doubled. I invested. Condo with river views now. Friends who stayed because they chose to. The ache dulled. Not gone, scar tissue. But I grew stronger. Met Caleb at a fintech event. Kind eyes, no games. Coffee turned to walks, walks to weekends. Love without conditions. Yet Dad's email on my engagement night reopened the scar. Not to bleed again. To remind me, some truths need final words. Portland mornings became my ritual in the months and years after. I drove away from that canceled wedding. I'd wake before dawn most days. The city still wrapped in quiet fog rolling off the Willamette. I'd brew dark roast in my small kitchen, strong enough to cut through the lingering fog in my head, then carry the mug to the window seat overlooking the river. The water moved steadily, dark and silver under early light, indifferent to the lives it reflected. That steadiness grounded me. No drama, no secrets, just constant forward motion. I tried to mirror it. My first apartment was a one-bedroom walk-up in the Pearl District. Walls thin enough to hear neighbors' arguments and laughter alike. Rent ate most of my entry-level salary. But it was mine. No family strings, no expectations. I furnished it slowly. A second-hand couch that sagged in the middle. Bookshelves from reclaimed wood, plants. I nursed back from near death because tending something felt like proof. I could still care. Each small choice was deliberate. A brick in the wall I built around the hollow place Dad and Wyatt left. Work became my anchor. I started as a junior analyst at a mid-sized real estate firm, poring over market data, writing reports on commercial trends that no one higher up had asked for, but everyone ended up using. Dad used to call my cautious projections timid. Back when he still spoke to me like I was part of the family business. Now I turned that caution into precision. I spotted patterns others missed, rising interest in adaptive reuse projects, shifts in downtown vacancy rates tied to remote work trends. My first big pitch was for a mixed-use development in the Alberta Arts District. I presented it in a conference room that smelled of stale coffee and fresh ambition. The partners listened. Then they funded it. My name went on the proposal. Promotion followed 6 months later. Nights blurred into late hours at the office or my dining table turned desk. Laptop glowing blue against the dark. I'd pause sometimes, stare at the screen, and feel the old ache rise. Why wasn't I enough for Dad to choose honesty? But I'd push it down with another spreadsheet, another forecast. Numbers didn't lie. They didn't favor one daughter over another. They rewarded work. Friends filtered in slowly. There was Mara, a graphic designer I met at a networking mixer. She dragged me to trivia, nights where we lost spectacularly, but laughed until our sides hurt. Then Jordan, a fellow analyst who became my sounding board for deal frustrations, over happy hour tacos. They didn't know the full story at first, just that I'd moved from Montana for a fresh start. When I finally told them bits and pieces over wine on Mara's balcony one summer evening, the city lights sprawling below like scattered jewels, they didn't pity me. They listened. They stayed. That loyalty, freely given, healed more than any apology from family ever could. Caleb entered quietly, like the tide. We met at a fintech real estate crossover conference in Seattle. He was presenting on blockchain for property titles. Dry stuff, but his delivery was calm, thoughtful, no ego. Afterward, in the hotel bar, he bought me a drink because I'd asked a sharp question during Q&A. Conversation flowed. Shared disdain for overhyped tech buzzwords, love for coastal drives, the way rain in the Pacific Northwest felt cleansing rather than depressing. Our first real date was a rainy hike in Forest Park. Mud on our boots, hoods up, talking about everything and nothing. No games, no hidden agendas, Just two people choosing each other, moment by moment. As months turned to a year, then two, life expanded. Weekends became shared. Farmers markets where we'd debate the best apples. Quiet dinners where he'd cook. Pasta and I'd set the table with candles I'd never bothered with alone. We traveled, road trip to Cannon Beach, where waves crashed cold and endless against Haystack Rock. A weekend in Bend for craft beer and mountain air. Each trip layered new memories over the old scars. Family tried to reach back. Mom's emails arrived like clockwork. Updates on garden blooms. Photos of holiday tables set for fewer people now. We miss you, Harper. The house feels empty. Dads were rarer. Shorter. Your forecasts would help right now. The market's volatile. I read them once. Felt the familiar tug-of-war between anger and old love, then archived them. Boundaries weren't punishment. They were oxygen. Meanwhile, news from Whitefish filtered through mutual contacts and social media glimpses. Lila's spa, once thriving on Dad's investment, struggled. Negative reviews piled up after whispers of favoritism and shady funding spread. Wyatt disappeared when the money dried. Dad's firm faltered without my projections. Clients drifted. Lila's glow dimmed in photos, forced smiles, thinner frame. The anonymous leak I'd heard rumors of, DNA screenshots, transfer records, old emails bundled and sent to a local gossip page, had done its work quietly. No dramatic explosion, just erosion. Friends distanced. Invitations dried up. Isolation settled like mountain frost. I watched from afar, not with glee but with detached acknowledgement. Karma wasn't fireworks. It was slow weathering. My life, by contrast, bloomed. A new promotion to director, a condo upgrade, floor-to-ceiling windows framing the river at sunrise. Caleb's proposal came on a foggy coastal trail near Ecola State Park, simple silver band. No grand speech, just forever, with mist clinging to his lashes. I said yes without hesitation, heart full in a way it hadn't been since childhood. But the rooftop email at my engagement party shifted everything again. The secret wasn't buried. It lingered, a shadow under the surface. Peace required facing it head-on. Whitefish waited. The circle needed closing, not with vengeance, but with truth spoken aloud. The cream card arrived in early autumn, tucked inside a thick envelope with a faint scent of pine and expensive stationery. Lila's engagement celebration. At the lodge at Whitefish. Lake. Gold-embossed script announced a new beginning with her fiancé. Ethan, a name I'd seen in passing on social media, a polite, outdoorsy type who smiled in every photo like he belonged in a catalog. The event promised lakeside tents, mountain views, string quartets under the stars. Family and close friends only, the note read in Lila's looping handwriting. We'd be honored if you could join us, Harper. I stared at it across my kitchen island, morning light slanting through the windows and catching dust motes in slow dance. The card felt heavy, like it carried more than paper and ink. Almost I shredded it, tore it into confetti, and let the pieces scatter into the recycling bin. But the rooftop email burned fresh in memory. Dad's cold confirmation of the transfer, the casual disposal of my future for Lila's. This invitation wasn't random kindness. It was the circle tightening, the past demanding acknowledgement. I set the card aside and went about my day. Client meetings, market analysis, but it stayed in my peripheral vision, propped against a vase of fading sunflowers. At night, Caleb found me on the balcony, card in hand again. "You're going," he said, not a question. He knew the story by then, every jagged piece. I nodded. I have to. Not to hurt them. To end the silence. Packing became ritual. I chose the emerald gown, deep green silk that caught light like forest. Shadows because it felt like armor. Heels I could walk confidently in. Jewelry minimal. Caleb's ring, a simple silver bracelet Mara gave me years ago. No nostalgia pieces from the old life. I flew into Kalispell on a crisp afternoon, rented a car, drove the winding road to Whitefish with windows down. Pine air rushed in, sharp, clean, familiar in a way that tightened my throat. Mountains rose around me, snow-dusted peaks indifferent to human drama below. The lodge sat elegant against the lake, timber beams and stone fireplaces glowing warm through windows as dusk fell. Valet took my car. I stepped into the lobby smelling of wood smoke and rosemary from event flowers. Guests milled, fewer than expected. Faces I half recognized from childhood summers. Whispers followed as I crossed the room. That's Harper. She came. After everything. Lila stood near the entrance to the main tent, white dress ethereal, hair swept up. Her smile flickered when she saw me. Surprise, unease, something like relief. Thinner now, cheekbones sharper, eyes shadowed. Ethan beside her, hand on her lower back. Polite nod but wary glance. Dad aged noticeably, hair grayer, shoulders stooped under his tailored jacket. Mom hovered nearby, twisting a napkin, eyes darting between us like she feared explosion. The tent glowed with fairy lights draped like constellations. Long tables set with crystal and wildflowers. Champagne chilled in silver buckets. A string quartet played soft covers. Classics turned gentle. Dad spotted me first. His face paled, then composed. "Harper," he said, voice low. "Thank you for coming." No hug. Just a nod like business associates. I circulated. Small talk with distant cousins, compliments on the venue. But eyes followed. Tension hummed beneath surface politeness. Lila pulled me aside near the dessert table. "I didn't think you'd actually show." Her voice trembled slightly. "After everything." I met her gaze evenly. I needed to see it through. Dinner passed in fragments, toasts from Ethan's family, laughter that felt forced. Dad rose for his speech, glass raised, voice steady but strained. "To family, to love that endures, new chapters, forgiveness where it's needed." Applause polite. Eyes slid to me. I waited until dessert plates cleared, music softened. Then I requested the mic from the coordinator. My pulse steady, breath even. The tent quieted as I stepped forward, lights warm on my skin, lake lapping dark beyond the canvas walls. Silence fell as I took the microphone, the quartet fading to a single violin note that hung, then stopped. The lake lapped softly against the dock pilings outside, rhythmic, unhurried. Fairy lights swayed gently in the night breeze, casting shifting patterns across faces turned toward me. Every eye in the tent locked on. "Lovely words, Dad." My voice carried clear over the water, amplified but calm. "You always framed beautiful moments so perfectly." Toasts that sound like promises. Family that endures. His smile cracked at the edges, small but visible. Mom's hand went to her throat. Lila's champagne flute trembled. But no more illusions. I paused. Breeze carried pine scent through open flaps. Someone shifted. A chair scraped faintly. "You paid Wyatt $75,000 to leave me at the altar. To protect Lila, your hidden daughter. The one you chose over truth when I stood there in white, asking why I wasn't enough." Gasps rippled, sharp intakes. A muffled sob from Mom. Lila froze, face draining of color. Ethan's hand dropped from her waist. He stepped half back, eyes wide. Dad's mouth opened, closed. "Harper, not here." I continued, voice soft but steel-edged. "Proof exists. Transfers dated days before the wedding. Emails between you and Wyatt. This ensures her happiness. Do what's right." His reply, "Payment received. I'm out. DNA confirming paternity you hid for decades. You orchestrated it all, quietly, efficiently. Lila got the life funded by secrets. I got the pieces to pick up alone." The tent felt smaller, air thicker. A woman at the back table whispered to her neighbor. Ethan looked between Lila and me, confusion hardening into something colder. Lila whispered no. Barely audible, but it carried. Tears welled. One tracked down her cheek. "Harper, please." "I didn't know." "You didn't have to know the details," I said gently. "But you lived the benefits. The spa, the attention. The path cleared for you while mine was blocked with money and lies." Dad stepped forward, hands raised placating. "We thought we were protecting everyone. The family name. Lila's future. Your mother and I—" "Mom knew?" The question cut sharper than intended. Mom flinched, eyes dropping to the floor. "You both chose silence over honesty. When I confronted you after Wyatt vanished, you said protecting the family, but it was protecting one daughter by sacrificing another." Voice steady despite the storm inside. "It wasn't me who wasn't enough. It was your lie that wasn't enough to hold us together. Lila sank into a chair, face in hands. Ethan hesitated, then knelt beside her, murmuring something low. Guests shifted, some uncomfortable, some riveted. A cousin I barely remembered stood, as if to leave, then sat again. I looked at Dad last. I rebuilt without you, career, home, love that's real, no conditions, no payoffs. I'm thriving. That's my answer to what you did. Not anger, not destruction, just truth spoken once under these lights. I set the mic down gently on the stand, click echoing. No dramatic drop. No storming out. I turned, walked toward the lake path outside the tent. Gravel crunched under heels. Pine-scented breeze cooled my skin. Heart lightened with each step, not triumphant, but released. Behind me, voices rose, Dad pleading quietly, Mom crying softly, Lila's sobs muffled, Ethan asking questions in low tones. But I kept walking. The lake stretched dark and calm, mountains silent witnesses. Release settled deep. The truth no longer hidden. The circle closed. The aftermath unfolded quietly, like snow settling after a storm. I stayed one more night at a small inn near the lake. Couldn't. Faced the drive back immediately. Slept deeply for the first time in weeks, waking to sunlight on pine needles outside the window, coffee brewing downstairs. No voicemails waited when I checked my phone. No urgent texts. Just silence, clean earned. Dad tried once. Email the next morning. We need to talk, please. I read it on the airport shuttle, felt the old pull, then deleted without reply. Mom sent a photo of the empty tent the morning after. Chairs still scattered. Fairy lights off, caption, I'm sorry. I saved it. Not out of forgiveness yet, but acknowledgement. Lila never reached out. Perhaps shame? Perhaps relief. Ethan, from what mutual contacts whispered later, asked hard questions. Their engagement paused, then quietly ended months down the line. I flew home to Portland. The river greeted me as always, steady, glittering under autumn sun. Caleb met me at the condo door, arms open, no questions until I was ready. We sat on the balcony that evening, takeout containers between us, city lights coming on one by one. I told him everything, the mic, the faces, the walk to the lake. He listened, hands steady on mine. You did what you needed, he said simply. I'm proud. Life resumed, but lighter. Work accelerated. New projects, team leadership, forecasts that shaped deals across the region. The condo felt more like home than ever. Plants thriving on the sill. Caleb's books mixed with mine on shelves. Our shared rhythm comfortable and sure. Weekends stretched. Hikes where we'd talk about future plans. Dinners with Mara and Jordan where laughter came easy. Boundaries stayed firm. Holiday cards arrived from Montana, generic, polite. I sent brief replies. No visits. No invitations extended. The distance wasn't cruelty. It was space for everyone to breathe. Years later, reflection came in quiet moments. Morning coffee by the window. River moving below. The betrayal broke illusions of perfect family, of inherited worth. But it forced me to claim my own. Worth isn't given by blood or bribes. It's built through choices, through resilience, through people who stay because they choose to. If family undervalues you, walk away. Build better. Surround yourself with honesty. You're not alone in the ache, but you're also not defined by it. I look at Caleb across the room some evenings, laughing at something on his phone, ring-catching light, and feel gratitude deep as the river. Peace wasn't given. It was earned. Step by step. Truth by truth. Stay strong. You've got this. That's the end of this one. If it hit you, smash the like button. Drop a quick comment with your thoughts, and subscribe if you want more stories like this. Thanks for watching all the way. See you in the next video.